Hi, I'm Burgess-Simpson, and today I'm going to talk about a very interesting piano, the Kawai CA99 digital piano. And I'm going to do a rather unusual comparison between this instrument and another instrument in our showroom, which is a Shigeru Kawai SK6. That is Kawai's hand-built top-end piano range, and the sound source from the Shigeru Kawai range is the sample base of a lot of their digital instruments, including this CA99. I think it's worth mentioning that in digital technology, musical instrument technology, broadly speaking, you have two approaches. One is around the overall digital functionality and versatility of any instrument, digital instrument, including pianos. And then you've got, if you like, the magnified focus on the issue of piano sound itself. Now, for me, Kawai are exceptional in that their particular direction is really about the piano as an element in the digital equation rather than just the digital equation overall. So if you compare Kawai to other major digital brands, there's a good parity between the brands in terms of functionality, quality of the digital components, and those sort of elements. But I think Kawai excel when it comes to the question of how do you translate most authentically the experience of playing an acoustic piano and listening to an acoustic piano into a digital format. I'm not aware of quite this comparison being out there, and it's a very rigorous one if you consider that we're talking instruments where this is over R1 million piano. And this, while a top-end digital piano is a fraction of that cost. And this is purely digital. However, in the CA99, they have introduced an element called the Soundboard speaker system. And what this consists of is behind the piano, in the same position you get it on an upright piano, is an actual wooden soundboard built with the same methodology and design of ribs and correct grain running in the right direction. And through that, underneath this section of the piano, is built in a very superior digital speaker system, and the two interact. And what this has done is that it's added an element of analog sound that, in my experience, is completely unique in digital pianos. And when I play just now, one of the things that I'll be experiencing when I'm at the keyboard is that I can physically feel the vibration of the instrument, both through the piano and literally even through the floor, the same as I do when I sit at an acoustic piano and play. So that transmission of sound, one of the big differences between digital and acoustic is when you're just listening to speakers, and in an acoustic piano, you're listening to the entire soundboard surface. And what Kawai have done here is they've combined those two aspects. You also have in this instrument a wooden key mechanism, so the keys of the piano are actually made of wood, the same as they are in an acoustic piano, and the key length is substantial, with proper weights and counterweights in each key to give you the kind of balance sensation that you get when you're playing a grand piano. In an acoustic grand piano, you have a physical hammer with felt at the very end of the wooden key. And when the pianist is playing, their sensation is of the hammer at the back of the keystroke, and that's what they're controlling through their fingers. And this design gives you an incredibly similar sensation. I can feel through my finger that the hammer weight is at the back of the key. And although that's a simulated hammer, the sense of relative leverage is very, very similar. The sound of these pianos is really quite astonishing. And this comes from the combination of the speakers that I was talking about and the type of sampling, the way in which the sound is extracted from real acoustic pianos. And depth of the tone and the sustain of the sound and the dynamic range that you get through a digital instrument like this is absolutely exceptional. The settings on the piano also allow you to adjust both the particular piano source that you're using. So right at the moment I have this set on a Shigeru Kawai SK6, which is one size down from this piano here. I can also move it to a number of other instruments in pianos, including their SK6, which is their concert grand, and that is the most advanced sound. And the quality here is an even bigger, fuller tone range, tone palette. And then within each instrument, and I'm just talking about the piano now without even getting into the other instruments, harpsichord, magnificent church organs, a whole range of different electronic instruments, jazz instruments, strings. Within each piano, there's also a number of settings that I can access. For example, there's a setting for the ambience or the acoustic to simulate the acoustic of the space, and I can have that on a small room or a large room or a live stage type of ambience. Or if you go for a more neutral sound, you can turn off that setting completely, and then the sound that you get from the piano is as natural as possible without any of that enhancement, and some people find that even more authentic to work with. You can also, in the virtual technician functionality, which is all adjusted here from a very nicely designed touchscreen in the cheek block of the piano, I can go into extreme detail in various areas that as an acoustic technician we work with all the time, and we use needles and weights and filing with papers and all sorts of fascinating procedures to work on things like the depth of the resonance, the length of the sustain, the relative damper noise in the instrument, the responsiveness from the resistance in the keys. So effectively you're changing the touch weight, meaning that if you want a heavier or a lighter touch, you can have that at the touch of a button. And it gives you a different responsiveness from the instrument. And having tested all of these parameters on not only this digital piano by Kawai, but all of their digitals that have the feature, I can say that as an acoustic technician, the similarity, the way the changes happen in this is extremely close to the way they actually happen in an acoustic piano if we go and change the adjustments for the weighting, etc. So all of that gives the pianist a huge amount of control over the kind of sound that they want. You can also control this navigation system from your phone via an app, and that adds a lot of convenience in all sorts of ways, including if you're playing music through this. So this can also be used as a sound system, and you can play any external music that can be linked from your phone, and all of that can be controlled from the app on your phone. So there's this element in which the best features of acoustic technology are being combined with the very best features of our current digital technology to produce an exceptional and very versatile instrument. The cabinet design on these pianos is also very, very good. This is a satin white finish, beautiful build quality, very elegant lines. So care is also taken in those kind of aspects. If I now do a little bit of a direct comparison just on the sensation between playing these, I've got this piano set at the moment. I'm going to put it back to the SK5, which is as close to this piano as possible. If anything, it's actually a slightly smaller piano that I'm now setting the digital to than this. And I've got the settings I'm going to put it on a neutral reverb. So not much no enhancement there at all, and a moderate volume level. You wouldn't generally have the opportunity to just get up from a digital piano like that and move straight to this magnificent hand-built Shigeru Kawai and then compare that experience very directly. And it really is astonishing the way in which the transfer of the physical sensation in one's hands is so close. And although there is an adjustment that you make with your ears and your mind, because you still do have a different sense of projection. This is a much wider soundboard area, and it's actually got strings and all of that acoustic resonance that is physically happening as opposed to being digitally rendered. The adjustment is far, far smaller than one could ever imagine. If you think about this kind of technology, and certainly even a few years ago, one would never even be able to compare the experiences. The controllability of both pianos as well is exceptional in that these kind of delicate shadings in say the treble line when you're playing softly is something that a piano like that is particularly good at. And the fact is that you can do much the same on this keyboard. The sensation of trying to control the sound is very, very similar. For me, the journey of exploration around instruments like this has been a long one and a very interesting one, because I'm a complete traditionalist. And 15 years ago, I wouldn't have a digital piano anywhere near my showroom. So for me to have this experience where I can actually talk realistically and present a personal experience of two instruments that should be in a completely different category. They shouldn't even almost be in the same planet from that traditional point of view. Is a great revelation, and I think the possibilities that it opens up for musicians, for teachers, for students, for venues, and for music, and for piano music in particular, are tremendously exciting. So from that traditional viewpoint, I've come to a position through this wonderful technology and craftsmanship of Kawai and this fantastic design and their dedication to the piano as an acoustic instrument. I've come to a position to be able to endorse these with complete conviction and sincerity, and have a great respect for what they've achieved.